6th Annual Intergalactic God Congress, and all the gods were gathered.
Wow, that's a lot of G's in one sentence. Haha, you'll need to forgive me. Homo sapien English is not my first language. However, I do know a few jokes in Earth Homo sapien English, and, like they say, if you can tell a joke in a foreign language, you should consider yourself fluent. Try this joke on for size. A man walks up to a gymnast and says, "I want to learn to do the splits." The gymnast asks, "How flexible are you?" The man says, "I'm free on Thursdays." Ha 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 ha. Because in English, flexible means both the ability to bend without breaking and the ability to respond to altered circumstances or sudden changes. Ha ha ha. If you don't laugh at that, I feel sorry for you, Buster. I like Earth Homo sapien English, and lots of Earth Homo sapien languages for that matter, because one word can mean lots of things. It's goofy as heck. You Earth Homo sapiens know how to have a laugh, and that's why I like you. Although some of you are harder to make laugh than others. I'm looking at you, Germans. Loosen up, you short pants wearing yodelers. Ha 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 ha. Does that count as a joke? 'Cause I'm laughing. Sorry, I forget myself sometimes. Everyone likes a wisecrack every now and again, but I shouldn't hurt any feelings over here. Sorry about the wisecrack, Fritz. Ha 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 ha. There I go again. Where was I? Oh, that's right.
The 6th Annual Intergalactic God Congress.
I've been sent here to tell you all about it. It's a bit of a competition, and I'm excited to announce the winner and the loser. But more on that later. Let's go back to the annual Intergalactic God Congress. Every god was there. Your god was there. Because every god must be present at the gala. They fill their bellies with intergalactically exotic meats, and their veins flow with the finest wines their planets have to offer. Laughter rattles the chandeliers, and more than one god pulls a prank on the other, whether it be a novelty ice cube with a plastic alien fly in it, or zapping another's personal valet with a ray gun, obliterating the valet into space dust. Ha ha ha! Whoa, I am all over the place here. I have a tendency to go headfirst into stories when I should take a step back and set the stage. I need to get better at reading the room, as the fella likes to say.
I'll reset. Here we go. Focus. You, my friend, are a Homo sapien on planet Earth in the Milky Way galaxy.
And I know a thing or two about you. I watched you grow up. Just allow me to take a breath and put it in terms you'll understand.
In every universe, there are galaxies. Every galaxy gets one god. One god per galaxy.
Capiche? Some gods are, let's say, more equipped than others. Some are smart and clever, and some, well, ha ha ha, they are not the sharpest bulb in the box. Excuse me while I look at Earth's Homo sapiens and say, "Ugh," as I tug at my collar. Ha ha ha! Tough break, Earth Homo sapiens. The gods are all friends-ish. They at least know one another and see each other socially from time to time. No one really has a beef, exactly, but their competitive spirit sure comes out at the annual Intergalactic God Congress. And this annual Intergalactic God Congress was one for the books. And let it be said,
this universe's gods aren't like the Roman or Greek gods or anything like the stories you've heard.
Sure, each god has a strong personality. Most are capricious. Several are outright vindictive, and all of them are self-important. But there is no, quote, God of the sea, or, quote, God of war, or, quote, God of what have you. It's a lot simpler than that. One universe, multiple galaxies, one God per galaxy. Got that? Write that down. There will be a quiz once I'm finished. Ha 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 ha! Just kidding. I'm having fun here. Relax, Charlie. Where was I? The 6th annual ho ho blah doy. I should probably introduce myself before I get any further in the story. I'm the acting Secretary General of the Intergalactic God Congress. It's a cushy job with great perks. Am I a god? Heavens, no. I'm just an average Joe, as the fella likes to say. Am I an angel? Pound sand, boyo. Don't be ridiculous. I fly around from planet to planet, checking in on the doings and happenings of the galaxies. I'm kind of the eyes in the sky for this little contest the gods have going on with one another. The contest of life. The rules of the game are simple. Every epoch, the gods get together for a brainstorming session called the Intergalactic God Boardroom Meeting and Luncheon. In your case, this occurred around 12 million Earth years ago. Wow! Was it only 12 million Earth years ago we were all in the same room? Holy moly! Time flies. All the gods eat their fill and get a little tipsy. Then they pull out a whiteboard and start brainstorming. They don't use an actual whiteboard or erasable markers or anything of the sort. I'm just putting all this in terms you'd understand. You Homo sapiens take everything so literally. Good gravy. Just follow along and use your imagination. Picture all of the gods at a round table in, well, let's say, an airport Marriott banquet room with a big old whiteboard in front of them. Because I sure as heck don't have the time right now to explain how the physics work of their meeting. At least not in terms you'd understand. Put me in the same room as a Homo sapien from the Pinwheel Galaxy, and they would understand me from the jump. I wouldn't even be wasting my voice like I am here now to communicate with them, because those jerks got brains the size of IBM computers from the 1950s and don't need a larynx to communicate. Their necks are much stronger than yours, to hold up their big brains, of course. But don't let that make you feel self-conscious. You're all doing the best you can. It's not your fault your god is kind of a dingbat. Ah, ha ha ha. That's all I will say about your god for now. I don't want to give away the ending. So, the gods sit around the table brainstorming. No idea is a bad idea. Well, some are better than others. Then they play a game that's a type of word association combined with Pictionary. Each god gets a designated time at the board and draws out all the types of carbon-based life forms they can imagine. The gods vote on which life forms are the most interesting, throw a ton of species into a hat, and then pull out a couple billion or trillion or whatever they agree to, and it's off to the races. Dang, I should explain another thing. Each god has a planet nearly identical to your planet, the planet Earth. They're all about the same size, the same distance from a star, the same climates, the same polar motion, the same land-to-water ratio, yada yada yada. And each planet can support life. Remember that. So, they take all the life forms they think are most interesting, like I said, and plop, put those bad boys on their planet with one caveat. Eventually, an agreed-upon dominant species needs to evolve and run the show on that planet. The last time they met, they settled on you,
Homo sapiens.
to run the show. After the luncheon, they shake hands, promise they'll call one another, although they hardly ever do, and meet up a few tens of millions of years later for the
Annual Intergalactic God Congress.
At the Congress, they take a look at how their chosen species performed and hold an awards ceremony. It's a little bit like the Golden Globe Awards. The gods have their fair share of drinks and all sorts of meat and rank how each god performed with their designated, quote, superior species on a scale from 1 to 10. They hold a sort of beauty pageant, to put it in terms you'd understand, and tally up all the votes at the end. Gods are not allowed to vote on their own Homo sapiens, so it is a blind voting system. And the way they do it is a little more complicated than you'd understand. But trust me,
It's fair and it is square.
and boy oh boy, are there all sorts of fun competitions.
Which batch of Homo sapiens made up the most technological advancements while doing the least harm to their planet? Which group of Homo sapiens traveled the farthest away from their planet? Did a planet's Homo sapiens figure out what ghosts are all about? Whose Homo sapiens look best in a bikini?
I'm kidding about the last one, the bikini wisecrack. Gods don't have private parts and are not motivated by sex like you wacky bunch down here on Earth. When all the votes are tallied up, a god is crowned the
Grand Champion of Gods.
That god wins a whole bunch of god cash, a fancy robe, a big hat, and a sash that says simply, winner. Ha ha! Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Ha ha ha! Why do you say that on Earth in English? I've never seen anyone win a chicken dinner on planet Earth. It's a fun rhyme though, and I wanted to say it one last time before you,
Before I announced the results.
So that's what the winner gets, and for the loser, well, I don't want to spoil the ending. Man, you should have been there for this year's ceremony. Here are some winners of the different competitions, in no particular order, but sit tight, I'll announce the grand champion and the loser at the very end.
The winner of the Do the Least Harm Award goes to... Dun 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 dun!
The god of the Hogs Object Galaxy. Hogs Object Galaxy is a polar ring galaxy, and gosh darn did that god flip the script. It's fun to see the god of Hogs Object finally put some numbers on the board. The god of Hogs Object pulled a fast one on all of us and chose not to give Homo sapiens sentience. Bam! Now that's what we call a dark horse in the biz. Ha ha ha! So what's it like over there on Hogs Object Earth equivalents? Pretty boring, actually. These Homo sapiens graze on nuts and berries and are motivated only by self-preservation. These fellas won't hunt for sport, but they'll be quick to put a spear through the head of a tiger if it is daring enough to sneak up on one of them, believe you me. Due to their lack of sentience, they've mastered survival skills and leave very little waste behind, short of nut and berry-laden poo-poos that replant the seeds of nearly everything they eat. Like birds. We're talking carbon neutral, baby. Ha ha ha. Sorry for the blue humor there with the poo-poo remark. I'm trying to keep things light. These folks on Hogs Object have the self-awareness of a ladybug, and there's no documented record of murder, assault, or even a casual argument. There's no government, no religion, I'll touch on that later, and everyone just kind of gets along. I guess. Even though they don't know it. A little bit of a yawn party over there, but a clever move all the same. The gods sure argued about this one, but during
Intergalactic God boardroom meeting and luncheon,
they never said a god was required to give Homo sapiens sentience. So maybe the god of Hoag's object won by a technicality, but a win is a win. Congrats to the god of Hoag's object. In Earth English, his name is Roy. Oh, here's a fun one. The Interstellar Travel Award. This award goes to the god of the Large Magellanic Cloud. This group of plucky Homo sapiens mastered stasis and interplanetary travel at lightning speed. That's right, Buster. They managed to travel at the speed of light without gooifying the organs of their intrepid space explorers. Sadly, this came at a tremendous cost of using up natural resources on their planet. But, as the fella likes to say, what ya gonna do? The farthest these explorers reached was 11 million light years, which, to the layperson, is 64.6 trillion miles. Impressive, no? They learned all sorts of crazy crap about the universe along the way, so good on them. Unfortunately, they came within 1 million light years of the nearest galaxy, the Milky Way. So the gods held an emergency meeting and decided to blow up their spaceship before they made contact with Earth Homo sapiens. Whoopsie daisy. Imagine what a complicated situation that would have been if alien species made contact. But a valiant effort all around. Well deserved. Let's all take our hats off and observe a moment of silence for their sacrifice. Ha 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 ha! Just kidding. No need to mourn. It's all part of the game.
some live, some die.
Now's not the time for a pity party. It's the
6th Annual Intergalactic God Conference.
for goodness sakes. Let's kick back and have a ball, you downer.
The god of the cosmic redshift 7 galaxy super showed up this year and won the interspecies peace competition by a mile.
I wish you could see it. Homo sapiens living in perfect harmony with animals of all sorts, even alongside the shrewd octopus. Those goobers learned how to sleep next to rattlesnakes and ride humpback whales like horses. They even established a common language so they can all communicate with one another, species to species. You should see their world government. Pandas sit next to chimpanzees. Tarantulas wine and dine condors. Carnivores and omnivores eat chickens. Everything tastes like chicken anyway, and those fowl are dumb as a box of rocks on that planet as well. Herbivores favor baby spinach. Okay, one last competition winner before I let you know who was crowned Grand Champion of Gods. Ha! That is right. I saw all your ears perk up when I mentioned ghosts earlier. The winner of the Intergalactic Spooktacular Award goes to bump 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 bump,
The god of the Andromeda Galaxy.
that Andromedean god never fails to show up and got their Homo sapiens to figure out what spooky ghosts are all about.
Could a spooky ghost be a dead relative warning you from beyond the grave? Is a spooky ghost a manifestation of concentrated energy from a violent trauma destined to walk the earth and terrify Homo sapiens at home and abroad?
Ha 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 ha! No, ya dummy! There's no such thing as ghosts. Sorry if that one was a little anticlimactic. But how many of you have friends there on Earth who say,
Oh my god, I swear I have seen a ghost.
Or, I have a connection with the other side.
Or, my grandmother watches out for me.
And once I saw a psychic who blah 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 Ouija board, etc.
Among other scientific advancements, the Andromedean Homo sapiens have proven once and for all that if something cannot be measured, then it does not exist. The math is a little too complicated for you to grasp, but this is the first time any carbon-based life form has truly mastered physics.
Candidly, it's a little more interesting to me that they learned to measure any phenomenon in their galaxy. But having a, quote, spooktacular award has a certain zhuzh to it. Better than something like
The Intergalactic Physics Award.
that award sounds like some 8th grade science fair baloney. Let's hear it for spooky ghosts.
There were plenty of other competitions with a handful of winners and repeat winners. The god of Malin 1 Galaxy won both the silliest human dance competition, and their Homo sapiens made a cheeseburger so big, even their god admitted they probably couldn't eat it in one sitting. The god of Mayal's object really nailed the figure skating competition, but lost the renewable energy competition by a short hair to the god of the Whirlpool Galaxy.
Fun times all around. Plenty of toasting. Plenty of wine. A real bacchanalia. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The winner of the Grand Champion of Gods of the 6th Annual Intergalactic God Congress goes to
The god of the Triangulum Galaxy.
and the crowd goes wild. Ah, 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 cheering. This wacky god pulled out all the stops: art, music, literature, automobile racing, you name it, 10s across the board. When asked how the Triangulum god pulled it off, the god blushed and said, "A little luck and some elbow grease. You're not getting any trade secrets out of me." All the gods laughed super fucking hard. All the gods except the loser god, who didn't win a single award, and, in fact, came in last in every competition. Sorry, Charlie, but now for the bad news.
The loser of the 6th Annual Intergalactic God Congress is
The god of the Milky Way galaxy. Yikes. Yes, I heard that collective sigh. I'll give you all a moment to let that sink in. Bummer about your luck, friends. I personally didn't find you all that bad, but I gotta admit, your god really screwed the pooch. And there are Homo sapiens on your planet who have literally screwed pooches. Y'all have a few issues to work out. That is for sure. No planet saw higher instances of murder, assault, treachery, or complete disregard for natural resources. It is no single human's fault, although you certainly had a few bad eggs along the way. No, this one falls on your god entirely. War? Holy moly! Genocide? Get the heck out of here, pal. Pop country music? Big time yuck-a-rooney. But where your god screwed up the most spectacularly was religion. Remember earlier when I mentioned some of the gods were capricious and vindictive, but all of them were self-important? You, my unfortunate friends, have the most self-important god of all. And it all comes down to one thing: religion. Ugh. That's me doing the tugging at my collar motion again, as a joke. While most gods practiced their craft subtly, your god went balls to the wall, as the fella likes to say. He really wanted to show his hand here and just begged for your approval. At first, he got you to worship the sun, then moved on to anthropomorphized animals, which honestly was the most harmless overall. But then, wham, Abrahamic religions. Kind of a clever idea, but boy oh boy, what a Pandora's box. I'm going to try and assume positive intent here. Maybe giving people a list of rules to keep them in line could have worked, but talk about short-term thinking. Holy cannoli! Not one Abrahamic religion, but 3? And then a ton of offshoots from there? A single plot of land that all stake claim to? Pardon my French, but what the H-E double hockey sticks was your god thinking? Okay, I'll slow my roll here. It's starting to sound like I'm holding you responsible for your god's subpar work. But rest assured, it's definitely not your fault. You could only play the hand you were dealt, and, like I said, your god isn't really the sharpest bulb in the box here. No. Now, I guess I never said what happens to the loser. The grand champion of gods gets that big hat, the sash, yada yada, all the glory. You get it. But the loser, well, before I go any further, here is some background. Sorry to break it to you, but your god has lost all the annual Intergalactic God Congresses. To put it in terms you might understand, he's the Detroit Lions of gods. He is the dumbest of the Baldwin brothers. So don't feel bad. You never really had a chance. Oof. I'll just get it out there all at once. By this time, your god has lost 5 times in a row. Well, now 6 times in a row. And on your planet, there have been... here we go. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. There have been 5 mass extinction events. The other planets, well, they haven't had any mass extinction events. Dinosaurs, trilobites, all manner of invertebrates. Those lil bastards are thriving on the other Earth equivalents. I wish I could have mentioned dinosaurs earlier, but it would have given away the ending. Dinosaurs evolved on the other Earths, and they are extremely chill. You should see how humans and dinosaurs get along. It's kind of like how you and dogs... Well, I don't want you to feel any more left out than you probably already do. Well, want to hear how your god boned up the dinosaurs? Your god made them feel shame. That seems to be your god's thing. Shame! Right out of the gate! Dinosaurs, by their very nature, are supposed to be rough, tough, and pretty rock and roll. No one wants to see a timid triceratops in a sweater, or a bashful pterodactyl in coveralls. What a dingus your god is. So, yes, big time bummer. But because of your god's incompetence, you fellas are, well, you are looking down the barrel of another mass extinction event. It's kind of a consolation prize to the loser, that loser being your god, because he gets a fresh start at the next
Intergalactic God Boardroom Meeting and Luncheon,
where they pick out a new carbon-based life form and take it for a spin. A clean slate. But for you, humanity, that means, well, the gods haven't decided yet. They're debating right now if they're going to go with super volcanoes or an asteroid. Although, if you ask me, asteroids have kind of been played out. Long story short, your turkey is cooked. But hey, on the bright side, it will be pretty quick and painless. Don't feel bad. It's not your fault. Your God, well, he's just kind of a dummy. You had a good run. You gave it your best shot, champ. You were just kind of cut at the knees before this whole thing started. The Milky Way galaxy's god is kind of a punchline, and all the other gods keep them around just for a laugh. It's a little embarrassing, and we're all pretty amazed they haven't caught on yet. Your god is a real chooch. Man, when it's put that way, it seems kind of unfair that you need to foot the bill for him.
Well, that's that. It was fun to get to know you, even if you didn't get to know me.
And I will miss all of you.
But hey,
Here's to better times and bigger boats, as the fellow likes to say. Hang in there. It will all be over soon. I'd say make peace with your God, but that would be kind of mean, haha. And like I said earlier, everyone likes a wisecrack, but there's no need to hurt any feelings. Sincerely, Jesus.
The story must be